When you look in the mirror, you see the one person responsible for your destiny. Not your boss, not your family, not your environment, you. The mirror doesn't sugarcoat anything. It doesn't care about your excuses, your pain, or your story. It reflects truth. And that's why real leaders never run from it. They don't flinch when the reflection isn't perfect. They face it every single day because they know greatness begins with self-accountability. See, most people want to fix the world before they fix themselves. They want better results without becoming better people. But leadership, real leadership, starts when you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what can I do better? That's the difference between average and extraordinary. Average people blame. Leaders reflect. The mirror isn't your enemy, it's your greatest mentor. Every time you stand in front of it, it gives you a progress report. It tells you if your words match your actions. It reveals whether your effort is aligned with your goals. You can lie to others, you can even lie to yourself, but that reflection sees right through it. And if you're bold enough to face it, it will show you exactly what's holding you back. We live in a world where everyone wants to be a leader, but few want the weight that comes with it. Leadership isn't about giving orders, it's about being the example. You can't demand consistency from your team if you're not consistent. You can't preach discipline when you hit snooze every morning. The mirror checks that. It humbles you. It forces you to acknowledge the gap between what you say and what you do. And when you finally decide to close that gap, that's when transformation begins. Real leaders understand that accountability isn't punishment, it's power. It's not about feeling guilty, it's about getting better. When you accept that your results are your responsibility, you take back control. You stop waiting for luck, for help, for the right time. You start creating momentum through ownership. Every small step you take, every change you make after facing that reflection, that's leadership. Because the mirror doesn't ask for perfection, it demands progress. And let me tell you something, that reflection is a gift. It reminds you that you still have time to rewrite your story. You can't change yesterday, but you can change how you show up today. The mirror doesn't care about your past. It only reflects what you bring right now. So the question is, when you look in that mirror, what do you see? Do you see potential or excuses? Do you see a fighter or a quitter? Because the answer to that question determines how far you'll go. The mirror never lies, but it also never gives up on you. It waits every morning for you to step up, to own your truth, and to lead yourself before you try to lead anybody else. Ownership changes everything. The moment you take full responsibility for your life, you stop waiting and start creating. See, most people want to win, but they want to do it without taking ownership of their losses. They love the idea of success, but hate the accountability that comes with it. Real leaders know you can't pick and choose. You can't celebrate the victory and blame someone else for the failure. You've got to own it all, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Because the truth is, ownership is freedom. When you take control of your decisions, your effort, and your mindset, nobody else gets to dictate your outcome. It's easy to say, I didn't have the support, or they didn't believe in me. But ownership says, even if nobody helps me, I'm still going to find a way. That's the difference between finishing strong and falling short. Most people stop when life gets unfair. Leaders adjust. They don't get stuck in the story of what happened to them. They focus on what they can do next. Ownership gives you that power. It shifts your mindset from victim to victor, from waiting for opportunities to creating them, from hoping for change to becoming the change. You can tell who's really a leader by how they respond when things fall apart. Anyone can take credit when it's easy, when things go right, when the money's good and the crowd is cheering. But when everything's collapsing, when people walk away, when the results aren't showing, that's when true leadership shows up. That's when you stand in the mirror and say, this is on me and I'm going to fix it. Not because you have to, but because you know that's what finishers do. They don't complain. They don't point fingers. They don't wait for rescue. They rise up and get it done. And here's the truth. Ownership doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you consistent. When you stop looking for someone else to carry your load, you learn to build your own strength. You start setting a standard that doesn't depend on motivation. You wake up on days you don't feel like it. You push through when the results don't show yet. You lead by action, not announcement. Because discipline is the ultimate proof of ownership. You don't have to say, I'm all in. Your grind says it for you. When you take ownership, you become dangerous, not because you're perfect, but because you're accountable. You stop wasting energy blaming others and start using that energy to get better. And when that shift happens, the game changes. You stop chasing validation. You stop needing approval. You start walking in purpose. That's what separates those who finish from those who fade away. When you own your story, nobody can use it against you. The world can doubt you, misunderstand you, underestimate you, but it can't stop you. Because the moment you take full ownership of your life, you unlock the power to finish what you started. Everybody loves the start. That's when the energy is high, the vision is clear, and the motivation feels unstoppable. But the truth is, the start doesn't test you. The middle does. The middle is where dreams either die or come alive. It's the part nobody posts about, the part where excitement fades and reality kicks in. That's when you find out who really wants it and who just liked the idea of wanting it. Because finishing isn't about talent, it's about endurance. It's not about how loud you start, it's about how consistent you stay when nobody's clapping anymore. You see, most people never finish because they confuse interest with commitment. They start a goal when it's convenient, when it feels good, when it fits their schedule. But the moment it gets uncomfortable, they call it a sign to quit. Winners don't need signs, they build systems. They don't rely on feeling ready. They rely on being disciplined. That's what separates leaders from dreamers. Leaders show up when they're tired, when they're discouraged, when it doesn't make sense. Because they understand that consistency is the quiet engine behind every victory. The middle is where the fight happens. It's when you've done too much to turn back, but haven't seen the results to celebrate. That's when your faith gets tested, when your patience gets stretched, when your why gets questioned. And it's in that tension that finishers are made. The middle demands focus when distractions scream louder. It demands work when motivation disappears. It demands that you believe in your future more than you fear your present. That's why so few finish, because they never mastered the art of pushing through the middle. There's no applause in the middle. There's no spotlight. Nobody's watching. But that's the beauty of it. The middle builds the muscle. Every rep, every small effort, every quiet, keep going, creates a foundation for greatness. It's not glamorous, but it's sacred. The middle is where you prove to yourself that you didn't start just to start. You started to finish. You didn't make a promise to get attention. You made a commitment to get results. That's the mindset that turns momentum into mastery. So if you're in that season right now, where progress feels slow, where no one's noticing, where it feels like you're invisible, understand this: you're not failing, you're forming, you're being shaped for what's coming next. The middle isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's the grind that gives your finish meaning. Because if it were easy, it wouldn't be valuable. Anyone can start, but only the few who keep going when it's hard, when it's lonely, when it's uncertain. They're the ones who cross the line. That's where leadership lives. And that's where you prove to the world and to yourself that you were built to finish. The mirror doesn't just show you what you are, it shows you what you can become. Every time you stand in front of it, you're not just seeing your reflection, you're seeing potential. You're seeing the version of you that exists beyond excuses, beyond fear, beyond limitation. But most people don't use that reflection the right way. They see flaws and failures and stop there. Real leaders see feedback. They understand that reflection isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. You can't fix what you won't face. You can't grow from what you won't admit. The mirror becomes your coach when you have the courage to listen. Every failure you've had is trying to teach you something. Every setback has a lesson in it, but you'll only find it when you stop running from your reflection. People love to talk about growth, but growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from reflection. It's when you slow down and ask yourself, what could I have done better? Where did I stop giving my best? That's where reinvention starts. You're not stuck because you failed. You're stuck because you refuse to learn from it. Reflection takes that pain and turns it into direction. It's the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. Real leaders evolve because they're honest with themselves. They don't wait for someone else to tell them what's wrong. They confront it head on. When something doesn't work, they don't blame circumstances, they adjust. When they lose momentum, they don't quit, they recalibrate. Reflection gives them that clarity. It's not about being perfect, it's about being aware enough to change course before it's too late. You don't reinvent yourself by wishing, you do it by reflecting, learning, and acting differently next time. That's how you stay ahead. That's how you keep growing. The mirror doesn't care about your title or your past success. It's not impressed by what you did last year. It only shows what you're doing right now. That's why reflection is so powerful. It keeps you humble. It reminds you that no matter how far you've come, there's still work to do. It reminds you that leadership isn't a destination. It's a daily practice of improvement. The moment you stop reflecting, you start declining. Because the minute you think you've arrived, you stop becoming. The mirror gives you an opportunity every single day to make a new choice, to let go of the old version of you that settled, that hesitated, that doubted, to become someone stronger, sharper, and more focused. Reinvention isn't a one-time event. It's a lifelong process, and it begins every morning when you look yourself in the eyes and decide that yesterday's version of you isn't enough for today. You can't change the world until you've learned to change yourself, and that change always begins in the reflection staring back at you. Everybody wants the prize, but few are willing to endure the process. The truth is, the process hurts. It's uncomfortable. It demands everything you've got and then asks for more. That's why most people quit when the pain shows up. They mistake it for punishment, when in reality, it's preparation. Pain is proof that something inside you is shifting, growing, strengthening. It's the fire that refines the leader in you. You can't build resilience without resistance, and you can't finish strong without first learning how to endure. People love to talk about the glory of success, but nobody wants to talk about the grind behind it. Those sleepless nights, those silent battles, those moments when you question if it's even worth it. That's the part that shapes you. The pain of the process is the classroom where leaders are made. It breaks you down just enough to rebuild you better. It strips away ego, excuses, and comfort until only your purpose remains. The reason it hurts is because you're being stretched into the person who can handle what you've been praying for. Without the pain, you wouldn't have the strength to sustain the victory. There's something powerful about the moment when you push through instead of giving up. That moment rewires your mindset. It tells your spirit that you can take a hit and still move forward. That's what finishing requires, the ability to keep walking when your legs shake, to keep believing when there's no sign of progress, to keep working when nobody's watching. The process might be painful. It's never pointless. Every obstacle, every delay, every detour is developing the muscle you'll need to carry your purpose. Leaders don't run from the hard parts, they embrace them. They understand that the pain isn't a signal to stop, it's a sign that they're getting closer. Because every finish line you'll ever cross will demand a sacrifice before it rewards you with success. The world loves comfort, but comfort never changed anyone. The people who make it to the top are the ones who learn how to stay committed in discomfort. They don't pray for an easier path. They train for a stronger back. And when the pain comes, they don't complain. They convert it into fuel. Pain reveals what comfort hides. It exposes your weaknesses, your limits, your fears. But once you face them, nothing can control you anymore. That's why the process is so powerful. It doesn't just prepare you for the win, it transforms you into someone who can handle it with character and humility. When you finally cross that finish line, it won't just be about what you achieved, it'll be about who you became in the process. Because the pain that once tried to break you will be the very thing that proves you were built to finish. At the end of the day, it's not about who started the race. It's about who had the heart to finish it. Starting something doesn't make you special. Finishing it does. The world is full of people who begin with excitement but fade when things get hard. They talk big at the start. They make promises. They post about the grind. But when it's time to endure, they disappear. Real leaders don't chase the thrill of beginning. They're driven by the responsibility of completing because they understand the legacy isn't built in the moment you start. It's written in the moment you finish. Finishing takes something deeper than skill. It takes conviction. It takes that quiet fire that burns when no one's clapping for you anymore. When the spotlight fades, when the energy runs low, when the reward feels too far away, that's where finishers separate themselves. They don't need the applause. They don't need validation. They've already made a decision deep inside that says, I won't stop until it's done. That's what defines greatness. It's not how loud you start. It's how long you can stay consistent after the noise dies down. Every unfinished goal, every abandoned dream, every almost achievement is a reminder that potential means nothing without perseverance. The reason some people never win isn't because they lack talent. It's because they stop too soon. They walk away right before the breakthrough. They give up when it's hardest, not realizing that's the moment the victory was being formed. Finishing requires faith. You've got to believe that what you started still matters, even when it feels like nobody else cares. You've got to keep showing up even when the progress is invisible, because the finish line doesn't reward the fastest. It rewards the most faithful. Leaders understand that every finish carries weight. It's not just about personal success. It's about setting an example. When you finish what you start, you give others permission to do the same. You show them what discipline looks like. You teach them that commitment means staying true long after the feeling has faded. And that's the difference between motivation and purpose. Motivation gets you started. Purpose gets you finished. Finishing is legacy work. It's what people remember long after your words fade. Your name will be attached to what you completed, not what you intended. Nobody celebrates unfinished dreams. The world honors finishers, the ones who kept pushing through the pain, through the fear, through the silence, the ones who didn't stop until the work matched the vision. That's what leadership is about. It's not about being first. It's about being faithful to the end. Because at the end of it all, the world won't remember how loud you started. It will remember that you finished strong.